All right, so this one is for activity 1.2.3, and there are 30 activities, or three activities that I need to check. Step 10, step 20, and step 26. All right, so this is what you need to do. You need to go to lbschools.net, just like this, log into it. You need to go to your student portal. So at lbschools.net, you'll see student, you click on portal. And when you get to the homepage, you are looking for my PLTW. So click on applications, and this is the one you're looking for. Open that. You may have to log in through Clever or through Google, but this is what you want. Click on courses. My screen may look different to yours. You might see a folder called PLTW Engineering. Click on that, and then you're looking for computer integrated manufacturing. All right. So from there, you're going to go to Unit 1, and you're looking for Unit Lesson 1.2 Control Systems, not VEX V5. That's a different robot. So make sure you click on Control Systems. Here on the left side, you'll see it also. Lesson 1.2 Control Systems, Robot C. That's what you want. And then you're going to scroll down. Actually, scroll down here on the left side. You're looking for Activity 1.3, 1.2.3 Basic Outputs. We're gonna skip most of this on 1, 2, 3, 4, but you'll notice 4 repeats here. So this is where we want to begin. 1, 2, 3, part 1. Okay. All right. Let's go back to Canvas and let's see what else is there. We're gonna skip to step 5, actually step 4, and Robot C. Okay. So what we need to do is open Robot C. I'm gonna close this. See changes. No. I'm gonna close this. This is what you should see on your end. And what you want to do is open file, and you want to look for that testbed setup that you created with your partner or by yourself a few days ago. So double click on that and open that. Now, we don't want to overwrite this. We don't want to change this file. We want to keep it the way it is. Um, so we want to use, excuse me, we want to use the setup here when we program the stuff here for 1.3, 1.23. So what you want to do is File, you go to File, Save As, and then we're going to change this testbed setup to a different title. And we'll just put A123 underscore part 1. And then later on, we're just going to keep changing that part 1 to a different number. Click Save. Okay, so now we're ready to code. So we're going to go back to, we're going to use the PLTW website as a reference. We're gonna skip 5. We already did 5, and then we did okay 6. Actually, that was one we need. Okay, but before we do that, let's go back to Robot C and change these around. So project title. I know this is about turning the uh, uh, LED. Okay, turning on the LED, or you can just call it A123. Sorry, 123 part 1. Okay. Sometimes I like it to be more descriptive, so that when I look for the file, I know what it's about right away from the title. Uh, Members, if you're working by yourself, you can put that down. Date, one, today's date, so 14, 21, and section, we'll just say period 5. So depends on the period. Okay, task description, almost the same as the title, but I know this is what we want to do, because from the reading. Turn on the LED. I'll get rid of that. Turn on the LED. turn on and off every second. Okay. All right. So now pseudocode is the steps that we want for our code. So um, it kind of describes what the code will be, but more like in the sentence format, word format. So these are not actually codes, but it will help us determine what code to put in the task main. Okay. So you'll notice it's all green. A green is a comment. So these are not actually codes, but it allows us to put notes on these, but the computer does not read them as codes, or the robot does not read them as codes. So what we're gonna do now, I know this for sure that we're gonna turn off the LED. Okay. Now we're gonna wait 1 second. We're gonna turn on the LED again, and then wait for 1 second. Okay. So we're gonna do this twice. I'm gonna copy it and then paste. And then the last part is turn off LED. Okay. So the code will reflect what's here. So the task main is the actual code. So for the task main, you don't want to put a code between these parentheses, and you put the code between these curly brackets. But you leave the curly brackets on their own line. Don't put a code here because it just looks messy. So we're gonna go here and take these and then copy it and paste. Because the whole purpose of copy and pasting is kind of just give you a quick code, and so you can try it out and then test it out. But to actually write the code, there is more than just copy and pasting. It's not really copy and pasting. So what I'm going to do is fix formatting, because it will change the lineup and it looks nicer to look at. So if I was not copying or pasting, this is what I would do. You got to make sure that your window is on the menu level X super user, and then the robot is platform type natural language PLTW. So you got to make sure of those two things before you can move on. And so you're gonna get these drop this menu. You're looking for natural language. The LED controls code are under special. Click on special, and you will see on and off for LED. So if I want to turn off the LED first, I'm going to drag this and then bring it here. If you see a black font, that means something that you can change. So digital port means like, what's the name of the port where we're getting the LED from? So according to here, the LED port is on digital 12, but it's called green. So we're gonna put green in place of this. So highlight that blue, double click on it, and then start typing. And we're gonna wait 1 second. So we're gonna go here, wait. We want to put 1 second there. So double click that and then put 1. Okay, so that's what you're gonna do. So you would repeat that for on and off, and then for the 1 second. So that's how you actually code, as opposed to like copying and pasting something. Okay, so for this purpose, for this activity, this is all you really need. So I'm going to click fix formatting again, just make it look nice and pretty. So every time I check your work for step 10, 20, and 26, make sure that all of this is completed, it's updated, this is updated. And the last thing that you need to do is put comments. So I'm going to put // so slash and a forward slash will allow you to put a comment, and it will turn green. So here we are turning off LED. Okay, next one, we're going to turn on LED. Okay, so I'm going to copy and paste this. This one. Copy. Okay, I'll wait. You don't have to do the wait. I suppose you can. And we just, copy and paste it, so it's kind of fast. What's the reason for putting these comments? When you get a lot of lines of code, it gets really confusing. So not having these comments it makes it difficult to correct or make adjustments. So it's always a good idea to put comments. Now, when do you put the comments? Put the comment right when you put in the code. Don't wait till the very end to put all the comments, because something might happen and you don't know what that specific code is. So make sure that you are putting comments right after you finish a line of code. Okay. All right. So the last thing that you need to do is fix formatting, save it, compile the program. There are no X's, so that means I can download. Now, what would happen if there are X's, red X's? So there's errors. Let's say you you misspelled green. Okay. When you compile program, you're gonna get a red X and it'll tell you what's wrong. Usually it's straightforward. Sometimes you're gonna have to look for it, but here it says green. It doesn't recognize it. It's not identified because it's not here. And so we have to put that E, compile it again, and now the red is gone. The red X is gone. Now let's say you get a different X. I'm gonna delete this semicolon. If I compile it, I'm gonna get a yellow X, meaning I'm missing that semicolon. However, yellow X means you can still download it and put it in the robot, and the robot will run fine. It's just saying that, hey, you forgot to put the yellow X, so it's not consistent. You might want to change it. So yeah, we do change it because those yellow X's can get annoying. But anyway, compile it after you fix it, and then download to robot. And now you're gonna see here it should turn on and off this LED. Okay, so I'm gonna run it. Click start. You notice the LED turn on and off every second. Okay, and that was it. Simple as that. All right, so I'm gonna save this, and then, so at this point, you should call me and say, hey, Mr. Dizon, I finished step 10. Can you check it? And I'll write you off for that one. Okay, so moving on. This is just basically doing the start and the download. I'm gonna control the motors, okay? And then that's step 11, but I don't need to check that. But we are gonna go to step 20, okay? But in order to do part 3, you should do part 2, so you understand how to code motors, okay? All right, so this is gonna be called part 2. What we're gonna do, we're gonna save this first, this part 1, okay? And then we're gonna go File, Save As. Okay, we're not gonna overwrite part 1, but we're just gonna create almost like a copy of it, but with a different name. So we're gonna call this part 2. Okay, so we don't get confused. We want to delete all of this stuff, all the code. Don't mess with the curly brackets and the parentheses. We can delete the pseudocode. Do not delete this. This means it's a comment. Anything between that is a comment. Okay, so don't delete that. Here, we're gonna change this to programming the motors. Okay, and then we'll call this part 2. What else is here? Turn on the motor a few seconds and stop it. Okay. All right. Pseudocode. What's our pseudocode? I think we can get the pseudocode from here, right here. It's number 13. Turning the right motor on forward, that's half speed for 5 seconds, and then stop the motor. So I want to copy that, and that will be my pseudocode for this one. Okay. Again, I'm not checking part 2, but you should know how to use this so that you can do part 3 correctly. So there are no instructions in part 2 on how to code, but it tells you where to get the code. So I will show that anyway. So we can skip all of these instructions and just watch this. So you're gonna go to natural language, you're gonna go to movement, and then start motor. Click on that and then drag it. So we want the right motor. So motor port, again, it's black font. That means you can change it. You have to change it. So I'm gonna start typing the word right, and you'll notice right motor pops up. I'm gonna double click on that. Okay. Speed, half speed. it will be 65 because half of 127 is about 65. So we'll keep it at that for 5 seconds. So we're gonna go to wait, drag that wait time, double click wait time, and then put 5. And then we're gonna stop the motor. Drag that, and then right motor. Okay, and that's it. So if I download this, actually I can save it right now. I should save it. Fix formatting, save it, and then compile, see if there's any errors, and then download to robot. I'm gonna download that, and I'm gonna click start. That this right motor should start, I hope. There you go. This one right here. For 5 seconds, it will move, and then that's it. All right. So now that you have an idea on how to do motors and how to use motors, part 3 should be much easier. It's just a matter of putting in the code. Okay. So let's start part 3. We're gonna let's double check this. So we're gonna call this part 3, and this is the pseudocode that we're gonna use. So I'm gonna copy that, and then we're gonna paste it here. Actually, this is part 2. Let's go and save this first. So save as part 3. And remember, I copied the pseudocode. I'm going to paste it here. Need some of these spaces. Run the motor for a few seconds and stop it. We'll say both motors. You're going to use 2 motors. Okay. It's kind of what you're doing there. So we'll just try to keep it short. Then part 3 is part 2 will become part 3. Everything else stays the same. And then this one we may be able to use. Okay. Turn the motor at half speed. So we're half speed already here. And then stop. Okay. We got it. We got that one ready. So let's just continue. We're gonna turn on the left motor. So instead of going here in natural language and the movement, what we can do is just copy this. Because we're gonna turn on the left motor in reverse, 3/4 speed at 2.5, and then stop. So we're gonna stop anyway. So all the code that we need is here. So we're gonna copy this, and we're gonna paste it here. Instead of right, we're gonna put left. Instead of 65, it's 3/4. I believe that's 95. Okay, so it's around 95. So we'll put 95 here for 2.5 seconds. So we're gonna change the time to 2.5, and this will be left. Okay, and then the third line here, we're supposed to turn on both motors. So we're gonna do a start right, and then a start left. Okay, we'll change that later. So, but we want that to be at full speed. So full power, 127. And then this is also 127. Oh, I did forget. The left motor here is supposed to be reversed. So we're gonna put a negative sign. Okay. It does say negative here, reverse here. All right. That's gonna happen for 7.25 seconds. So I'm gonna get a wait time here. 7.25. And then we're gonna stop both motors. So we're gonna put one here, put one here. We'll call this right motor, and then we'll leave the other one alone to be the left motor. Okay, and that's it. And that's the code. Fix formatting, and then don't forget comments. Actually, I just gave you a bad example here, but I was supposed to put a comment every time I write the code, so I should have done that earlier. So you're gonna put here turn on motor at half speed. Here you're gonna wait 5 seconds. I want to copy this because I'm gonna use this a lot anyway. Right motor. I'll stop right motor. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna finish all of these comments. Okay, I know it's kind of tedious, but it is important, and get used to it because later on you're gonna need that. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this blank, but when I do check it, it needs to be filled up with comments. So that's for step 20. Okay, part 3. All right, so now we're going to um, we're gonna fix formatting, save it, and we're gonna compile it, no errors, and then download to Robot. Okay, we're gonna click on start. That is on for 5 seconds. This will turn on for 7.25 seconds or 2.5 seconds, and then both of them 7.25 seconds at the same direction. Okay. All right. Very good. Now we saved it. Let's go to part 4, which is controlling the servo. So the servo, this is what we want to do with the servo. Okay. It's gonna. So both of these, this is the one you're gonna use for sample, and then you're gonna modify it to do this. And so this will be part 4. Let's go to File, Save As. We're gonna call that part 4, and you notice all our part 1, 2, and 3 are still there. They're not modified. They were there last time we saved them. Okay, so click Save, and then let's change the titles and all that stuff. Programming we'll just say servo motors, and this is part 4. Turn on servo motors. Okay. We're going to change the pseudocode. And then we're going to remove all of these. Okay. All right. Let's go back to Project Leadway. This is the code they want you to use. So we can just copy that. Paste it. Servo motors is actually under natural language and movement, where it says set servo. Okay. You can set up all that stuff just like before. All right. So the server will run. It will turn on negative 127, then go to 0, and then negative positive 127. Okay, so you can give it a try, run it, and how it looks like, so you have a good idea how it works, and then you're gonna modify it for step 26. So let's go and do that right now. Then fix formatting. So go ahead and pause the video, and then try it out, and then move on with the video, the last portion of this video. All right. So the pseudocode for this is this one right here, number 26. You're gonna copy that, paste it here, get rid of all these spaces. Okay. And then we're gonna modify it according to our pseudocode. So set servo negative 20 for 2 seconds. So we have that already. So let's put a comment. Let's see, for a comment. Set servo negative 127 for 2 seconds. Okay. Oops. All right. And then here, we want to go to position 63. So negative 63 for 3 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. I'm going to place it here. Change these to match the code. Then we're going to go to 0 position. Okay, for 2 seconds. Oops. Okay, and then it's going to go to 63 and then 127. So it's almost the same as the other one. It's just more positions. Okay, there you go. And then the last one is almost like this one. Um, Copy that, and it's positive, and that's it. Okay. So you have your comments, you have your code. So when I check number 26, it should look something like this, or very similar to this. Okay. So that concludes a activity 1.2.3, 1.2.3 in Canvas. There is no need to turn in anything. The way you're going to submit it is by showing your work. Okay. Like in person. So I can check you off on that activity. Okay. All right. Thank you and good luck.